So I love almost everything about this pack. I was recently sent the CS40 from Outdoor Vitals to give a try, and I've had it out on one overnight trip, but I haven't really tested it yet. So I thought this week I had an opportunity to take a 4-day trip with some friends up to, well, our annual trip that we do every May, and I'm looking forward to giving this thing a shot and seeing how it goes. So far, the first thing I've noticed is that the hip belt is quiet. One of my biggest beefs with the Ultralight, of which I bought two, I own two that I purchased, is that they attach to the pack via Velcro. So the removable hip belt is Velcroed on. And it might be size or it might be user error, absolutely could be, that pack, I used to hear the Velcro crunch or come apart and go back together, but this one is still attached by Velcro, but no issues at all. So maybe it's just the right size for me, but that's the first thing I noticed for sure is the hip belts. I like way better than the Ultralight for sure. Speaking of the hip belt on this pack, there's a note on the website that says the sizing is different than the Ultralight, so pay attention to that. I didn't, and I ordered the same size as the Ultralight, and it actually fits really well. However, I think the reason they have that sizing thing, that sizing note, is because the straps for the hip belt are actually pretty short. It sits good on the hip. The buckle sits perfectly right on my hip bone, which is perfect. But the straps for pulling them tighter are actually really short. I think if I had got a larger size hip belt, those straps wouldn't be so short and I would have an easier time with them. Now I do like that they're short because my other pack, they just dangle down. So just pay attention to that note when you're ordering this if you're going to order it. I never said no incline. There's a little hill at the beginning. There's always a hill. The shoulder straps on this pack I thought might actually be too tight, like in the neck, too close together for me. But they're not. I went out and played ball a couple days before I took this trip, and oh jeez, hold on. What I was trying to say was, I got a bad sunburn. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's probably a nasty line there. And that was the day, that was on Saturday. And I started this hike on Monday with this pack, and I didn't even notice it. So these shoulder straps ride really comfortably. They fit great. The way this strap runs, the load straps run right here. Then there's a strap for the sternum that runs here, and then there's a strap for the pack to tighten. What that means is that there's not many places to attach a pocket if you have like a, I don't know, third-party vendor or whatever, that you have a pocket you like. Matt's cheering for the Oilers up there. So like even I found I'm putting my InReach on the sternum strap instead of the load lifters, because having it on the load lifters, it kept dropping in behind my neck. No, that's not a problem. It's just different than where I normally keep it. So, but I've also found that I don't miss having stuff in the pockets that I usually have on my pack. Like I think the only thing I used to carry is bear spray, mostly in my pocket, on the strap pocket. So I don't mind that at all. I've actually attached something to the hip of this to carry my bear spray. So Thumbs up for the shoulder straps, Outdoor Vitals. Nice work. I wasn't sure how I'd feel about the mesh pocket on the back. I mean, my old pack has a really big mesh pocket, and this one looked a little narrower. And it has these two panels of fabric that run along the side that I thought would just take away from the expansion of it. But the mesh that they use is really good. There's a lot of space in there. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in there right now, but the top part of it is actually a nice little secure spot. It's not too tight and it's not super loose. So I'm actually pretty impressed with the side pockets, and I decided that I kind of like the panel on the side, because one of the things I'm always worried about throwing my poop kit in there is the edges on the trowel catching the mesh and puncturing a hole in the mesh while I'm shoving stuff in and out of there. And that side panel lets me be a little bit rougher with the pocket in the back, and I don't have to think about it as much. And anytime you don't have to think about something and it just works, it's better. When you're packing up the CS40, make sure that that roll top gets 3 full wraps, or kind of overlaps. When I packed it the first day, I was pretty full, and I tried to get away with not packing it, rolling it all the way down, and it actually opened up on me. And that's not the pack's fault, that's my fault for trying to pack too much bulk in the top and not rolling it down and cinching it down tight enough. So just a word of advice. When I was packing up to leave the house, I noticed that the side pockets are smaller than I'm used to. They're not too small, they're just smaller than I'm used to, because the ones on my long haul are massive. I can fit my whole head in them. These ones are just big enough to fit a couple of smart water bottles in securely, easy to get in and out, hard to drop, so it's good. But it is something that changed the way I pack my bag a little bit, because I wasn't used to it. And normally I overload this with a whole bunch of stuff. Oh. So my thoughts on the CS40. I've had it for 2 trips, 6 days total, 4 nights, just about 100 kilometers altogether. And it's everything you would expect from Outdoor Vitals. It's a great pack. To be honest, I am a huge fan of Outdoor Vitals and their culture and their brand and everything that they do. I've personally purchased 2 top quilts from them, 2 under quilts from them, sleeping bag from them, 2 shadow lights, one for me, one for my daughter.
Backpack.
With that said, this pack is the first thing I've been sent from anyone for free, and they sent it with no strings attached. No, please do a video. No, we'd love a review. No, nothing, no strings attached. Just, we noticed you haven't tried this yet. Try it out. And I think that's really cool. So I love almost everything about this pack. Is it my new everything backpack? No. The main reason for that is just because there's not enough tie-out points. There's not enough attachment points. There's not enough things. There is a gear loop, or an axe loop at the bottom, and a loop up top to snag a trekking pole or an ice axe. There are 2 attachment points at the bottom of the mesh pocket, and there's 2 under the pack that you can actually, I've got some shock cord on there strapped in, so I can just tie some stuff there. But because it's only 40 liters, and because it doesn't have a ton of attachment points, I wouldn't use this for my year-round pack. I would use this probably for 3-season most places, but definitely for me, this will probably become my standard for summer and early fall, where you don't need the extra loft, you don't need the extra bulk, and you don't need a ton of things that you need to attach. You don't need snowshoes, you don't need skis, you don't need all the extra things that you would need for a trip where you have ice and snow. So altogether, this is a beautiful pack. My favorite feature of the pack is actually the hip belt and the pockets. The way that they're cut and sewn and the way that the zipper's positioned makes it incredibly easy for one-hand use. It doesn't go both directions. Like you can't open it from both sides kind of thing like you can on some packs. And the way they're cut, they stay upright. I have a couple of packs that when I open the pocket, things can fall out. These, I didn't have any concern about anything falling out. The other thing that I love about them is there's one thing on every hike that you need to have with you at all times without any exceptions, but you never use, and there's no practical use for, and that is your car key. Now, this pack has a little key loop in each one of these side pockets for your car key. And I didn't think that was as big a deal for me as it was. I really, really liked that because my one hip belt pocket carries my extra battery for my camera, carries my microphone for my camera, some headphones, my allergy medication, stuff like that. And this goes in with that. And even if everything fell out of that pocket mid-trail, I fell down a hill and it was open and everything fell out, I would still have my car key when I got back to the car. And I think that's actually really cool. I like that. Anyways, check out the CS40 if you want. It's a great pack. And yeah, might be a great pack for 3-season in the Rockies, 2 for sure. I'm Nathan. This is Backpacker-ish. Like, comment, subscribe, or don't. Whatever.